Coming to you from the Windy City. Welcome to Let's Talk Shop, a podcast about all things cloud and enterprise tech. Listen to insights and guest interviews with IT thought leaders and professionals. Now, here's your host, Elias Kanaser.
Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of It Depends, and a special guest today. We are in the studio. He's visiting in Chicago. Sanjeev, welcome.
Thank you so much, Eli. I am so happy. I made this trip to the Windy City. It is windy today in January of 2023. And here we are recording own personal studio.
It's so nice to have you. So It's been a while. The last time we met was reInvent in Vegas.
Yes.
What have you been up to since? What are you doing in Chicago?
Oh wow! I had an amazing trip. I did a couple of meetups in India. Then I went to Rio de Janeiro for New Year's. Then I came back, and now I'm in Chicago.
Not a lot of people go to Rio for New Year's.
I got lucky. I had a hotel right at Copacabana Beach. 2 million people.
Oh wow!
And fireworks and parties everywhere. So it was great. But now it's back to business, and this is a year where we really need to put our heads down because, unfortunately, we run into a little bit of economic downturn, and so there are a lot of headwinds, and every day we see news. It's pretty sad. People, get impacted by jobs. Budget cuts are happening in technology and so forth. So it's going to be a bit of hard work, but there's a silver lining.
So I am going to ask you about your plans for 2023, especially for those that are interested in what you're doing. But let's start off with kind of where you've left off with the economic downturn.
Yeah.
How much do you think that's going to impact what we do, right? So cloud, analytics, data, do you feel like more people are going to continue to invest? Do you think they're going to pull back on investment? How are you seeing this?
Okay, so Eli, great question. There is no doubt that budgets are tight and organizations are starting to cut.
But budgets have always been tight. Have you ever thought of a time when someone said, well, I have a lot of budget?
Unfortunately not. I would love to see that, but it's tighter than normal.
Tighter, that's fair.
But I do have to say that there are two areas of significant growth, even in these times. Cloud and data and analytics. Why I say this is because and maybe this is a bit self-serving because I'm in the data and analytics space, but I get to see it up close and personal. Data is the competitive advantage, and organizations that cut their budget for data and cloud modernization, they are going to pay a price down the road.
You think so?
Yeah, absolutely.
So 100%. You think those that are going to mind the budgets and cut back are going to lose the advantage later? They're not going to be able to catch up to those that actually continue to invest?
That is correct. Yes. You've got to keep modernizing. And by the way, modernization is not just moving into the cloud for the sake of moving into the cloud. You're moving into the cloud because of business reasons. It could be cost optimization could be one of them, although it's not necessarily the primary thing. It could be agility to do new use cases. It could be you are preparing for the future, so you can add more use cases. So whatever it may be, the modernization payback is not going to happen tomorrow. It's going to happen maybe later in the year or 2 to 3 years down the road.
But so let's be a little realistic. I'm going to play devil's advocate. So for those that really have tighter budgets, they're probably listening to you and saying, well, we want to continue to invest. It sounds great. Where do I find the money? How do they do it? Is it cost optimization? Make sure you optimize the environment to make up the budget to then spend it? What's your advice?
So many, surprisingly, there are companies that have told me that they froze the budget overall, but they've found a way to pay for a new suite of products because they have tied together some sort of ROI. So the message I have for a lot of vendors who are trying to sell their services is that you got to show the business value. It's not about technology geek speak, you should get this product because it will help you do X, Y, and Z. It is the business, maybe self-service analytics. Maybe you can finally fix that pestering data quality problem. Whatever it may be, there's a business value tied to what you do. We spend too much time talking technology. We need to
take a step back.
Yes.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I also feel like, again, for those that are out there, how do we find it? I feel like there's always a way to find budget, right? So whether it's, maybe stretch the maintenance on hardware that you don't have to refresh this year, whether it's do an assessment of the cloud estate and do a cost optimization, find a way to find the budget. I feel like if there's a business driver, you should be able to find the budget.
Yes.
Now, it's easier said than done.
Correct.
But I still feel like I agree 100% with Sanjeev. Those that don't invest are going to create a bigger gap between them and those that continue to invest in 2023 and beyond. So let's talk a little bit to our friends, our audience that are watching, those that actually do the work. What do you advise them in 2023? Should they continue to invest in themselves, continue to get certs, continue to gain knowledge? Is this a good year for them to do something like this? Is in economic downturns, should people learn more? Should they reinforce what they know? What are you seeing? What's your advice to folks? Engineers, data engineers, etc.
I have to say I've been around the block for a few years. I'm showing my age, but there's a reason I'm bringing this up. The reason is because the peak of my career, to be honest, when we were having so much fun was during dot-com boom days, and then just we fell off the cliff. And that was a very, very difficult time for IT industry, the dot-com bust. But some of the biggest companies were created at that time.
I agree.
AWS came out at that time. eBay came out. PayPal came out around that time. So this is not end of the world. This is the time when you take reins, you take charge, because this is the time of growth. This is, do not take this as, doom and gloom and there's nothing I can do. There are technologies that are asking you to come learn. Whatever technology, maybe if you're a network security guy, there's a lot happening in that space. If you are an analytics person, change, the rate of change that is happening in 2023 is rampant.
Yeah.
So
more than in the past, for sure.
More than in the past.
Yeah.
So don't think that I am controlled by the environment is slowing down. If you are impacted, for instance, then go take classes, see, one of the important things that I tell people is that you have a ton of knowledge sitting in your brain. Get it out on paper.
That's a good idea. Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Right. If you can, I think that's a great idea. Speaking of those technologies, you're in data and analytics, you're in AI, you're in all of these fields. What's hot today? What's going to be interesting in 23?
So AI is definitely hot because of ChatGPT. Everybody's talking about ChatGPT. I don't want to be yet another voice saying ChatGPT does an amazing job. I think it's certainly revolutionized. It's given a shot in the arm to AI. So AI has avoided what we were jokingly calling AI winter. But what's really hot is, again, I'm showing my data analytics roots, so pardon me for those of you who are like, what is he talking about? But data governance, metadata management, data quality, data integrity, all of these things are critical. We are already living in a world where almost every organization I talk to is already multi-cloud. And they have hybrid, and they're getting into edge. So the problem or the importance of metadata has never been higher.
Yeah. Why is ChatGPT all of a sudden exploding? It's been around for a while. It's not new, right? Why is it now like, oh my God, everything's ChatGPT?
So first of all, large language models are becoming more accurate. The way the answers that ChatGPT gave are literally brilliant.
Okay, so you're saying it's had time to be trained,
Yes.
It's more natural.
Absolutely.
Is it to the point where I can't distinguish or differentiate between am I talking to a human or to an AI?
Turing test. Yeah, it's passing the Turing test.
So I'm thinking of doing this for my dad's business and on his website. Do you think it's a good idea for a small business? Like right now, if you go on his website, I have an FAQ. But the FAQ is pretty limited. But do you think for a small business it makes sense to have some kind of a ChatGPT? Maybe it's a representative that can answer questions, or does it have a certain business size or does it apply to small to large?
So I put a very funny LinkedIn post the other day. A vendor tagged me because he asked ChatGPT a question and it thought it gave it...
And it says, ask Sanjeev.
No, so it gave it an answer that it wasn't up to his liking. And he's like, what's up with that? And he's getting all worked up. And I was like, ChatGPT is a new TikTok. Now,
wow.
That sounds shocking because they're so different, they're completely different. But the reason I'm saying that is because ChatGPT is addictive, like TikTok. And people are right now asking ChatGPT questions ad nauseum. And the beauty is the answer changes every week. And that's what they're asking. So they'll ask a question. So I told this guy, just wait for a week. Because
there'll be more updates.
There'll be a new update. So every time you ask ChatGPT, it gives you a brilliant answer, but it's different.
So how's that happening? Is it because it's continuously collecting information and as a result the algorithm's evolving?
Yes.
What's making the change?
That's exactly what it is. The more people ask, the more material ChatGPT has to train itself, its answer changes. In fact, ChatGPT literally shook the world this week when Microsoft announced $10 billion investment. $10 billion with a B. And now the whole industry is abuzz with, will it kill Google search?
Oh, wow. So you think the future search is going to be more a chat-based type, ChatGPT type instead of type-based?
I'm not saying that. This is the industry's view. The industry's view is that ChatGPT is the new search engine. That is where the industry is going. I'm not bought into it right now, but because I'm here to solve real problems.
But so wait, hang on a second. So where is Google in ChatGPT? I mean, there's no way they're going to let their market lead in terms of search.
Correct.
So what is Google doing? So we know Microsoft's invested $10 billion.
Yeah.
What's Google doing?
A great question. I'm waiting to talk to our friends at Google and find out what is their point of view. But I have not seen anything.
Are there any other players? Like, is AWS doing anything, or is that something you're still researching?
I don't think AWS is in the space of web
So you
search,
think it's the search engines that are going to be more so
Yes.
Bing and Google and
Correct.
Are there any others?
Yeah.
Bing and Google.
Yeah. By the way, I also want to go back and answer your question as to should small businesses look into ChatGPT. The answer is 100% you should. Why not? It's so easy. Everybody's using it.
Well, how easy is it? Like, will small businesses need to hire professionals? Is this something that you can do? Like, is it as easy as building your website on Wix? I'm simplifying.
Yes.
No, but is it that easy?
It is that easy. You have to go to OpenAI's website, sign up for ChatGPT. You'll very quickly get your login, and then it's end user self-service, end user friendly.
And I can configure it so that it answers the questions that I'm interested in, or that my users, my customers are going to be interested in.
Yes, correct.
And is it like cloud-based? So is the algorithm going to continuously get updates from the cloud, or can I limit it to, hey, these are the set of questions I want you to answer, or both?
Both.
Okay.
Yeah.
Speaking of ChatGPT, the $10 billion Microsoft investment, what's going on in VC world? Is the VC world, again, is it ChatGPT? Is there something else?
Okay, I have to drop another bombshell on your show.
So ChatGPT is the new TikTok, and here's another one.
Okay, another one. The second, what's going on in the VC world? FTX has dropped a nuclear bomb in the VC world.
Okay, explain.
VC funding is down,
Dry?
shut, cold.
Really?
Dry. Yes. I work with small companies, startups that are doing extremely well. They're making money, but they cannot get funded. Or if they do get funded, it's coming with term sheets that are just not advantageous.
Is this because they're afraid of what happened and it's kind of a, hey, let's take a step back and reevaluate? Why do you think it's come to a standstill?
It's because VCs are being very conservative. I think they overspent. Till about a year ago, companies were getting 100x valuation. So if you make $1 million in revenue, you are a unicorn. you're worth $1 billion. That was just ridiculous. So some of it was they went so far in one direction that the pendulum has now shifted. But more than that, it's just being very cautious. And I personally, I feel the VCs are now at a point where they're like, let's squeeze these vendors. Because where are they going to go? They cannot get funded. So as they keep waiting and money starts drying up, they become cheaper and cheaper to invest in.
So it's a better term sheet. Now, I would have thought maybe they would have dried up for crypto and that type of I can understand. But you're saying across the board.
It's across the board, yes.
Do you feel like this will end in 2023? Do you feel like it's going to go beyond? How long do you think this period will? And I know I'm asking you a very hypothetical question.
But it's a great question. It is something that we should have a point of view. There is no right or wrong answer because none of us have seen the future. My opinion is that this is going to start stabilizing by Q3 or maybe Q4. So I think we will get back to normal. Human memory is fickle.
Oh, I know.
Yeah. So I think we're going to
People will forget FTX soon.
People will forget. And I think we're going to go through a cautionary phase.
Period.
Right now, what is happening is that I very closely look at SaaS metrics, and there are all kinds of SaaS metrics we used to look at. Now, the most important SaaS metric is burn rate.
Okay.
And, so people are cutting down, which is, again, going back to that investment I said in data and analytics and technology. People are cutting their marketing budget, and I think they're going to see the effects down the road. But whatever it is, burn rate, bringing that down and containing your cost is probably the most important metric at this point. Along with growth, you got to have growth. You can't just cut cost and not grow.
Are you seeing any workloads come out of the cloud?
Great question. This is.
I'm going to say no, just before I answer.
Yeah, no. So, and I'll say yes to that.
Okay.
Because up till last year, it was all about growth at any cost. This year, the focus has shifted to cost optimization. One of the cost optimization pieces is running your workloads where it is the most cost effective. So if I'm running a Hadoop workload, for example, I know Hadoop's not the cool thing for many years. I'm running it in the cloud. If I can bring that on premises, then why not? But now to your point, although this cloud repatriation is talked about quite a bit, it is a minuscule.
Yeah, so I agree with that. So I think there's always going to be continuous cloud cost optimization.
Yes.
But I mean, take something like Hadoop. If you were to do this on premises and you were to rebuild hundreds and thousands of these nodes on-prem, that's a pretty big capital investment.
Yes.
And by the time you deploy it, well, you're not going to have access to the newest processors or even the GPUs.
Correct.
So I feel like it's a continuous balance. Some workloads may be on premises, but I'm not seeing like the cloud repatriation. A lot of people are making it into a thing where, oh my God, everybody's getting out of the cloud.
Right.
I'm definitely not seeing that.
Yes. So let me give you an actual example. Walmart is a perfect example. Walmart has a model. It's called the triplet model. And the triplet model consists of public cloud, private cloud, and edge. It's all built on open source, OpenStack, and Kubernetes.
But they also have Azure. They have a big deployment in Azure.
They have Azure and Google Cloud. So that's a multi-cloud. And then they have a private cloud and edge. And they basically have open sourced this piece of product which allows them to move workloads. So portability is really important for them. But that's Walmart. Not every company is Walmart. So
and even Walmart, he's definitely right, but even Walmart had a lot of challenges with OpenStack and the ability to do portability on the workloads. I mean, at that point, those have to be containerized workloads.
Yes.
Which means you're not using any of the past services because that becomes very difficult to move. So yes, but.
Correct. Yeah. And the thing is that Walmart can afford to do these experiments. Others cannot. So I would say pick a cloud, learn it really well. AWS has 238 services.
Yeah, and growing.
And growing. It's a full-time job just to learn AWS. How can you go multi-cloud if you are not even? In fact, to me, the biggest problem today with cloud, and you're the cloud guru.
Apparently.
Yes, you are. No, in Gartner, we all looked up to you as being the cloud guy. So the biggest problem in cloud, I see today, 30% of cloud cost is unused and wasted.
Oh yeah, there's a ton of opportunity in cloud optimization. I think across the board for all organization, whether it's automation, whether it's recalibration of instances. There's a ton. And again, back to that budget conversation, I think this is a really, really good time for those companies, for organizations. Again, we don't know what the economy is going to be like, right? So it's almost like economic weirdness, so to speak.
Yeah.
Because it's bad, but it's not bad. And how long is it going to be bad for? But this is going to be a perfect time to look at that environment and optimize it, because I think you're going to find if it's not 30%, it's going to be 15% or 20%. But that 20% is going to allow you to continue to spend moving forward. And to Sanjeev's earlier point, that way you're not creating a gap between you and those that are able to still afford to invest.
Yeah. If you remember when we recorded our last video at AWS reInvent, I was giving you an example of this tiny company that I work with that found these unused AWS resources.
Yep.
And so they're saving only $20,000, $27,000 a month.
Hey, but that's a lot of money.
Yeah. So, and this is a tiny company. Imagine a large company. But take a guess. How long do you think is a cloud bill for Accenture? Take a guess.
You mean length of the
lengthwise, number of lines?
2 pages?
It's tens of millions.
Come on.
Serious. I'll send you a link. It's on the protocol.
If it's publicly available, I'll put it in the description.
Yes, I'll send you the link to the protocol. Tens of millions, because there are 1,000 groups in AWS that are in Accenture that use AWS. How do you optimize that?
You're going to have to find a way if you want the budget.
Yeah.
So, towards the end of this episode, let's talk a little bit about what your plans are for 2023. What can folks expect to see from you in terms of actual deliverables, whether it's research, books, training? What are you working on? What can they expect and when?
Yeah. So, great question. Eli, you're watching out for me. We are basically
always
yes. So Eli has actually been pushing me to finally publish that damn book I wrote. I've written over 500 pages.
He's written 500 pages. I'm like, let's publish.
I've never published it. So I'm following Eli's footsteps. I want to write a book this year. I want to publish my training program. Now that I'm saying this publicly, it puts me
on the spot. You're going to have to hold him accountable.
Yes. And I feel that there's this. Over the years, we've gained so much knowledge. It's good to share and get it out there. So that, to me, is my big, hairy, audacious goal, BHAG. Other than, just pushing the research into this. As we go into multi-cloud, new problems arise. Cost is just one of them. But how do I know where is my data? How's my data doing? If it fails, where in the world, in my pipeline, did it fail? Could I have caught it earlier? So it's like observability is what I'm hinting at here. But there's a whole move toward data products. We're trying to take a more disciplined product management approach to building our data outcomes. So there's a lot of new research that I'm doing in this space and trying to expand our thinking and get ready for this hybrid multi-cloud world that we are going to be living in for the next few years.
Does the book have a tentative title?
Yes, I actually decided to make it into a 3-volume book, and the tentative title is The Hitchhiker's Guide to Data Management.
That's awesome.
Hitchhiker's Guide to Data Governance and to Data Analytics.
So stay tuned for a 3-volume book, apparently. Probably some courses. We're still figuring out what we're going to do with them. They might publish on Udemy. They might publish on Sanjeev's website, on mine. Maybe we'll combine them. We're still working through that. I'm also working on the Cloud Strategy book. I'll give you some more updates on that pretty soon. But you can expect to get quite a bit of content from us this year, both in written format, research, and also in terms of training classes. Before we close, any last parting words now that you're in Chicago in this great windy weather?
Yeah, I would say I wish you all an amazing 2023. Everything is in your control. Just have the best time, and don't worry about unknowns, because there's nothing you can do about it. Just have faith. Just keep at it. So
I think it's time for us to go get some baklava. I'm gonna put some bloopers after this video. You guys are gonna watch.
Coffee.
You're gonna watch Sanjeev eating baklava, my dad's baklava. So stay tuned for the bloopers at the end of this video.
Thank you so much. Take care.
Sanjeev, it was great seeing you in Chicago.
Thank you.
Next time, we're gonna do this again.
Yes, definitely. It made my trip worth it.
Take care, everyone.